In a small, forgotten village, there was a legend of an enchanted mirror that could show a person's true self. It was hidden deep in the forest, inside a cavern covered with moss and vines. Many had searched for the mirror, but few had returned, and those who did spoke of strange visions and unexplainable feelings. One day, a young man named Theo decided to seek out the enchanted mirror. Theo was known for his vanity. Though he was kind-hearted, he was always preoccupied with his appearance. He spent hours grooming himself, admiring his reflection in every shiny surface he could find. Theo believed that if he could see his reflection in the enchanted mirror, it would affirm that he was the most handsome man in the village. Armed with determination and a sense of adventure, Theo set out into the forest. The journey was long and difficult. The forest was dense, and the path was filled with obstacles. Twisted roots, thorny bushes, and streams too wide to cross without getting wet. But Theo pressed on, his desire to find the mirror stronger than any discomfort he faced. After days of searching, Theo finally found the cavern. The entrance was hidden behind a waterfall, and inside, the air was cool and damp. At the far end of the cavern, the enchanted mirror stood, its surface gleaming despite the darkness. Theo approached the mirror, his heart racing with anticipation. He looked into it, expecting to see the most perfect version of himself. But what he saw was not what he expected. In the reflection, Theo saw himself as he truly was, not just in appearance, but in spirit. His face looked the same, but behind his eyes, he saw all his vanity, all the time he had wasted focusing on his looks rather than on others. He saw the times he had walked past people in need because he was too busy worrying about himself. He saw how his obsession with his appearance had distanced him from his friends and family. The mirror did not just reflect his outer self, it showed the inner truth. Theo was overcome with emotion. He had never realized how much his vanity had affected those around him. He fell to his knees before the mirror, tears streaming down his face. "Is this who I truly am?" he asked aloud. The mirror, though silent, seemed to answer with the weight of the truth it had shown him. For hours, Theo sat in front of the mirror, reflecting on his life and the choices he had made. He realized that beauty was not about how one looked, but how one treated others. The mirror had shown him that true beauty came from kindness, humility, and generosity. When Theo finally stood up, he was a changed man. He left the cavern, leaving the enchanted mirror behind for the next traveler to discover its truth. As he made his way back to the village, he no longer cared about his reflection. Instead, he focused on how he could help those around him. He visited his neighbors, offering his assistance wherever it was needed. He spent time with the elderly, played with the children, and worked in the fields alongside the farmers. Over time, the villagers noticed the change in Theo. He was no longer the vain young man who cared only for his appearance. He had become selfless, kind, and compassionate. His beauty now shone from within, and people were drawn to him, not because of how he looked, but because of the warmth and kindness he exuded. The legend of the enchanted mirror continued to be told in the village. But now, when people spoke of it, they spoke not of its ability to show physical beauty, but of its power to reveal a person's true self. And Theo, who had once been known for his vanity, became a living example of the mirror's lesson. That true beauty lies not in what can be seen, but in how we treat others. From that day on, Theo lived a life of purpose, always striving to be the best version of himself, not for his own sake, but for the sake of those around him. The moral of the story is that true beauty comes from within, through kindness and humility. Thank you for watching Timeless Echoes, where every echo tells a story.